Hi everyone, I'm Helen.
And I'm Billy from Mia Culpa. And today we're going to show you how we make one of our most special cookies, Amygdalota,
which are Greek almond cookies.
So come on over. Helen's going to do the taping, I'm going to do the baking, and we'll show you how it's done. We're going to start by explaining to you all of the ingredients that we're going to need to make our Amygdalota. So the first thing we need is 350 grams of almond flour, and we use the finely ground almond flour that we get at Costco. It's a great brand and it works really, really well. We need a cup and a half of superfine sugar, and I'll explain a little bit more about what I mean about that soon. We need a quarter teaspoon salt, a quarter teaspoon cream of tartar. We need 1 teaspoon of pure almond extract. We need some almonds for decorating the cookies, and we need egg whites, of course. So we have our egg whites separated into two portions. We have 3 large egg whites here, 2 large egg whites here. And although you can use egg whites from an egg that you then have to figure out what to do with the yolk, you can also buy the cartoned egg whites, which is something that we really like to do because it's easier and there's less waste, and it works really, really well. So our oven is at 325 and we're gonna get started. So the first thing that we do is we take our almond flour and we're gonna add in just the salt. So that was silly because I put the cream of tartar in the same container. I shouldn't have done that, but that's okay. And we're gonna give that a mix just to kind of stir it all around. And then we're gonna set that to the side. The next thing that we want to do is prepare our sugar. So what we have here is a cup and a half's worth of just regular white granulated sugar. We wanna make it super fine. And what that means is that we're basically gonna grind it up a little bit. You could buy superfine sugar. It's a little bit hard to find. It's not the same thing as icing sugar, so be careful. But if you do find it, you'll see that it's more expensive. And honestly, it's easy enough to do this yourself. So you put the sugar in either a blender or like a little smoothie mixer, and you just grind it up. So a cup and a half of regular white granulated sugar is going to give you about a cup and a half of superfine sugar, which is what you want. You might have to add a little bit or use a little less. So it's gonna get loud. So after about 30 seconds or 45 seconds of blending, you can see that the sugar has become a little more powdery, or a lot more powdery than it was. So that just is going to have it be easier to dissolve with our egg whites and will prevent your cookies from having any sort of grainy texture. So the next thing that we're gonna do is start beating our egg whites. So we take a large bowl and we take our 3 egg whites, which is this container here, and we're going to add in the cream of tartar. And the cream of tartar really helps create nice peaks with your egg whites. So it really is a kind of essential ingredient here. And when I beat egg whites, I really like to use a handheld mixer. And the reason for that is because I find that the stand mixers don't often get to the bottom of the bowl. So some of your egg whites don't get beaten up as much or as quickly as you'd like them to. But a handheld mixer, you can really kind of dig in there. So we use the whisk attachment, and here we go. So that took a couple of minutes, and we've gotten to the point where we have what we call stiff peaks, which means that if you lift the egg white, they hold their shape. So that's what you want. And now at this point, we're going to add in a teaspoon of the almond extract, and we're going to add in 1.5 cups of superfine sugar. And it's actually less sugar than we actually ground up. So 1.5 cups of granulated sugar gives you a little bit more than 1.5 cups of superfine. So just measure it out again, pour that in there. And we're going to mix it up. And what you're gonna see is this whole mixture is gonna turn kind of glossy and very, very pretty. So let's go. after a little bit of mixing, not too much, and you can see that the mixture, the sugar and the almond extract and the egg whites have kind of turned very glossy. It smells
it's shiny and it smells delicious.
Doesn't it smell good? That's the almond extract.
Yeah.
So next, we're gonna take off this whisk attachment because we don't need that anymore. We're gonna pour in the salt and almond flour. Start to mix everything together. You're going to see that it is pretty stiff. That's okay. There, once you've done that, it's pretty crumbly. What you can do is use a rubber spatula, to kind of mix it around. Make sure that the bottom, you see the bottom still had some egg white that didn't get mixed in. So we're gonna use our rubber spatula to mix it in like that. Now this looks pretty thick and crumbly.
Yeah.
Which it is, so that's fine. This is where our last 2 egg whites come in. So we're gonna take our last 2 egg whites, pour those in, and give this another mix. So this is what your dough is going to look like with a second addition of the egg whites. So you can see that it's not really crumbly anymore and it's kind of wet, and that's what you want to see in your dough. I'm going to show you how we like to shape our amygdalota, but disclaimer, if you don't have a piping bag, if you don't have piping tips, if you don't have the energy or the desire to pipe your cookies, it's not a problem. Take a teaspoon or a tablespoon and just make dollops of cookies. Stick an almond in the middle and they're going to be just as delicious. So you don't have to take the extra step of piping them. But if you do, you're going to need an open star tip piping tip like this one. So I wish I could tell you what number this is, but I don't remember. I can look it up, but this is kind of what it looks like. It's Wilson. And if you don't have piping bags, and we usually do, but of course today I don't, so we're going to use a heavy-duty freezer bag. Freezer bags are better than sandwich bags because they tend to be thicker, so it's going to hold your batter better. So you just have to cut one of the corners off to stick your tip through. And kind of like so. That should be, oh, that might be too big. Let's see. Let's see if our piping tip goes all the way through. Oh yeah, look at that. That's not good. Okay, we're going to do that again. The tip right here, and that should be good enough where our piping tip doesn't go right through. Oh, I think it's going to go right through again. I think I'm cutting the hole too big, honestly. Let's see. Yeah, no, that's not good. This is trial number 3 now. I'm cutting only a very little bit off the top. Let's see if this works.
Come on, Billy, you can do it.
I'm telling you. Oh my God. I have to get rid of the sandwich bags. If I put, you know, someone's bound to use them to store something and make a mess. Okay. Ah, yay, success. So now that our makeshift piping bag is ready, we're going to use a spoon to spoon some of this dough in here. And you're not going to fit it all. That's okay. You're going to do this in phases. So these cookies are amazing because they're gluten-free, they're dairy-free. So anyone who has, you know, restrictions in that type of thing can still enjoy them, which is great. And so you want to take your dough and mush it kind of to get through the tip. Twist your bag. And I like to hold my tip and bag together here because the dough still is kind of thick, so you don't want the pressure of piping to get your tip to, you know, pour right out. So I like to hold on to it. And there's a few ways that you can do this. I like to do something very simple, which is kind of just to go straight down, press down, and make a little mound like that. The first few are never, you know, they get nicer as it goes on because you get more used to the pressure that you need to apply to your bag. There you go. The other shape you can make is kind of a twirl like this.
That's like the more traditional style.
Yeah,
right?
Those are like the ones that we see at the bakery, at least the bakery that we have here.
Yeah.
So you can see that we've made two different shapes using our piping bag. And I just wanted to show you that, again, if you don't have a piping bag or if you don't have the energy to try to use one of these little mini scoopers.
Very nice and simple. And
very simple. I'll be honest with you, piping these cookies is a bit of an effort. So if you have a little bit of difficulty using your hands or, using a bit of force, it's maybe not the best idea for you because it's a bit hard, I find anyways. But this is super easy and the cookies are going to be just as delicious and really just as cute. To decorate, we like to use whole almonds and just nestle them into the center of the cookie. So depending on the shape that you use, on these that are a little bit like little mountains, we put it right in the center, we press down a little bit. These are not cookies that are going to change their shape very much during baking, so you don't have to worry about them spreading or anything like that. And then on these little mounds of cookies, we'll just do something like that. So even though they are different shapes, they're going to bake pretty much in the same amount of time, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay guys, so the kitchen smells so great. 17 minutes in the oven, middle rack at 325 degrees Fahrenheit, and our cookies are done. And the way that we know that they're done is because they're just slightly browned at the bottom and they've started to get a little brown on the edges. So these are the ones that we made just using the little tablespoon scoop. They're perfectly cute, super sweet, very easy to do. And this is one of the little piped cookies that we also made that are adorable as well. So you can choose to design them as you like, and whatever way you do, we promise they're going to be delicious. So I'm going to break one open now, actually.
They smell fantastic.
I know, maybe one of these flatter ones. They're still warm, so, but you can see the inside.
Let's see.
They're kind of soft. They're kind of crispy on the outside and soft on the inside. That's
how, yeah, they're perfect.
Yeah, that's the texture they're supposed to be. And they're still warm. They're really good. They're really good.
Well, we hope you guys enjoyed our video.